Good day. Welcome back to First Take. From the opening tip in Game 4 of the East Finals, Tyrese Haliburton was incredible. He recorded a historic triple-double, 32 points, 15 assists, 12 rebounds to lead the Pacers to a 131-21 victory that gave them a commanding 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals. Hallie became the first player in playoff history to put up at least 30 points, 15 assists, and 10 rebounds without a turnover since turnovers were first tracked in 77-78. So, Wilbon, here's the question. You'll be there tonight. Should the Knicks make Hallie more of a scorer, or should they make him more of a passer facilitator?
Well, he's expert at both. I don't think either one of those things work. You know, we were on Get Up with Damian Woody, and Jay and I were talking about the actual employing of a spy, like a quarterback. Mm-hmm. You have to, but do you have that person? I mean, see, Oklahoma City, the brilliance of Oklahoma City is not only do they have one guy who can carry out such a task over a period of time, they have 4. Do the Knicks have somebody they can commit to that role? Can you do that with Mikal Bridges when you also count on him offensively to do certain things and have enough energy to do both? I don't know. Whatever you do, you almost need to spy Haliburton to sort of make his life at least uncomfortable, if not miserable. Jay, am I wrong about this?
I think you're hitting the nail on the head. I mean, I said facilitator because I think when he sees the ball go in from a scoring perspective, it makes him such a double threat. So how do you make him one-dimensional? And I think if that's a Landry Shamet, if that's a DeLon Wright, because when we keep going back and forth about Mikal Bridges, you also need Mikal Bridges to carry the load offensively, considering that OG at times can disappear on the court. You need somebody to be additive if Cat especially is injured, right? So it's somebody that, it's what we saw Lou Dort do last night. There was a moment when Anthony Edwards caught the ball for an inbounds pass, and he was like, oh my, what the hell? And Lou Dort's in his
80 feet
away from the rim. Lou Dort is in his face, and you see he turns his whole body. Now, what that does is it says, oh, this off made or missed shots, you pushing the ball again, we ain't doing that no more. No more transition for you, Hallie. So that's going to cut out at least 6 or 7 of his assists in the game. If you can make them a half-court team, not all the time, but more than they're a fast break team, then it decreases the amount of possessions in the game. Now we're saying we want you to value the possession. It's not something Indiana's great at doing. So you have to kind of play that angle. I don't know. It has to be somebody. Because
the question is how?
Just a matter of getting back on defense and protecting the rim. They flare out. Right. They can knock down threes. That's not the answer. So strategy-wise, Tibbs has to employ something like that in order to have a chance to win the game.
Wendy?
I think your best way to deal with Haliburton is when you have the ball. You slow Haliburton down by not turning it over. You have to maximize caring for the ball, and by being cognizant of how he gets their fast breaks going. You know, one of the things that happened in this last game, we all talked about the 32 points and the 15 assists, and those were the old 1-2, no doubt. But he had 12 defensive rebounds in this game. That means 12 times he got to start the offense by himself. He didn't have to have a pass to him, start the fast break immediately. Part of the way you stop them from running so fast is by boxing him out. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but don't let him get the ball so fast. You know, this is what Rondo used to do. I remember Rondo, he used to get half his rebounds without jumping. He was just the fastest guy to get to where the ball was. He'd pick it off as it was coming down, especially on a long rebound, then he was off at the other end. So you got to be cognizant of your floor balance. You got to be cognizant of who's boxing Haliburton out, because if you're half court, I'm not sure the Knicks are equipped to make this decision about making a facilitator and making him a scorer. You know, they were running this play. I was spent all day yesterday with Iman Shumpert and Udonis Haslem, 2 guys who know about defense. And they were talking about this play that the Pacers were running throughout Game 4. They called it 77. That's the NBA term for it, but I would call it a double drag. Basically, you set 2 guys screen at the top and have Haliburton run around both of them. And it put the Knicks defense into a blender. It was essentially a way to put both Jalen Brunson and Karl Towns into screen action at the same time. And I'm telling you, it was a wrecking ball. You are going to see that play, I guess, a dozen or more times tonight. I can't imagine how you're going to stop it because it just is too hard of a cover for the Knicks. The Knicks are ill-equipped really to defend the Pacers as well as they have other teams, primarily because the best defender that they would have on Haliburton in a straight-up situation and screen navigation is probably OG Anunoby. But if you take Anunoby off Pascal Siakam, you're ill-equipped to, you can't put Bridges on Siakam. Siakam's too big for him. So we have a complex matchup challenge here. And the Knicks are going to have to manage it by taking care of their business more than anything they can force Haliburton to do.
I think two things, Brian. I think interesting about Rondo, right? And I think sometimes when you watch those Boston teams played, when Rondo was guarding certain players, when they would shoot the ball, he'll automatically go to like, okay, or somebody else on my team shot the ball. Where is he? Where you find him early, right? So you have to be able to change plays mentally very, very quickly. That's going to be an adjustment. Also, like, why not blow up those ball screens, trap, and deny back? It's going to take a Herculean type effort tonight for the Knicks to win. I think we all recognize that. This is going to be a game where they're going to be exhausted. But that's where you have to use your strategy and your bench. You get tired, you need somebody to come spell your minutes.
Your bench, key phrase, Jay.
Right? I'm tired.
Coaching.
Because right now, the way these players are conditioned is I have to play through being tired.
Right.
Which then there's accumulation of mistakes.
Yeah, Wilbon, I heard the way you just said bench. So tell me this. I know what you're alluding to. Does this series say more to you about Tibbs or Carlisle?
Carlisle. All the stuff Wendy just went through, that wonderful specific list of things that Wendy just went through about the implementation offensively, defensively, that's Rick Carlisle. He's done this, right? I mean, he did this in Dallas. He's wearing a championship ring. I know he had two Hall of Famers in Dirk and Jay Kidd. I get it. But Rick Carlisle's been at this for a long time, and he's inventive. And the criticism of the league now that we often hear is, well, everybody's doing the same thing. Rick Carlisle's not doing the same thing. And he, to me, if he wins, I mean, just to get to a second championship with different team. I mean, how many coaches do that? And this is no slight at Tibbs. But if you look at what the Pacers are, who they are, how they function, you talk about this versatility, extreme versatility on the part of the Indiana Pacers. To me, there's a direct line to the head coach, and that's Rick Carlisle. Mm-hmm.
I would say Rick Carlisle, too. I would ask you, though, Mike, is there a sizable gap between Rick Carlisle and Tom Thibodeau?
A difference. I don't know if I want to say it's a gap.
Yeah.
I mean, he has won one, and Tibbs has not. Tibbs has been to conference final with another team, so he's been deep in the playoffs with multiple teams as well. But Carlisle, what we're seeing from the Pacers now, the Pacers, if we started this series and we ranked players, yes, Haliburton is now taking the rest of the world by storm because people are paying attention to a way they weren't to a guy in Sacramento and Indiana. But everybody would have had Jalen Brunson justifiably won.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would have said, well, I'm going to have Cat too. They would have. But now that we're into this series, we are seeing the Nembhard, Nesmith, these guys weren't on
A lot of people's radar.
most people's radar, but they were on that staff's radar and understanding how to utilize them.
The reason why I asked you, because it does make me think, I wonder like if Tibbs wanted a guy like Cat with some of the defensive challenges that he saw with his roster construction at first, right? It makes you ask.
Well, remember, he had him once before.
Or
And, you know, it didn't seem